On Brisbane's doorstep, Moreton Bay is home to an abundance of wildlife. But scientists warn it's an ecosystem under threat. And what's slowly killing it is silt.
The bay's getting more and more mud in it that reduces the water clarity and reduces the light. And both seagrass and coral need light to grow, so as you reduce the available light getting to the bottom, the less likely you're going to get healthy ecosystems.
Never was this more evident than in 2011, when catastrophic floods sent a wave of choking sediment into the bay.
It's been estimated that over 100 times as much sediment comes out of our catchments during a flood now than would have come out pre-European settlement.
The historical evidence is that the water was clear. First Nations people, were spearing fish in the river, had huge fish populations. It was abundant with life. We really have transformed this system in the last 200 years.
So why are these flood and storm events hitting Moreton Bay so hard now? To understand the root of the problem, we have to follow the Brisbane River all the way to urban areas upstream. This barren housing development site west of Brisbane is a good 60 kilometres from the ocean, yet the way it's being managed has grave repercussions for Moreton Bay.
What we've got here is, known as a greenfields suburban development site, which is somewhat euphemistically named.
Catchment scientist Andrew Brooks says sites like these are a huge source of silt.
Storms happen, big pulses of sediment come off these sites.
He says local governments are not doing enough to ensure developers follow the rules in managing soil runoff.
There needs to be very vigilant sort of maintenance and management of those measures that are put in place to stop the erosion. And inevitably that sort of doesn't take high enough priority.
The stick is only effective if they know that there's a stick.
Environment group Healthy Land and Water recently audited the region's construction sites. Just 15% were fully compliant with erosion sediment controls.
The reality of construction is that the more inspections you do and the more committed you are to do enforcement, the more that contractors and will be aware that you're out there.
It's an issue that bugs Bribie Island local Greg Savage. While commercial fishers like himself operate under strict and strictly enforced regulations, he says no one seems to be policing the construction industry.
Just drive anywhere and look at any creek, you've got bare banks, you've got erosion, just seems to be open slather.
A bloom of Lingbia, a form of toxic blue-green algae, nearly brought his livelihood to its knees a few years back.
With all the nutrient inputs that we're getting, or the sediment inputs that we're getting, we're seeing the blooms happening more and more frequently.
Those algal blooms kill seagrass beds, a vital food source for marine creatures, particularly dugongs.
I see Lingbia as an early warning sign.
The experts agree the way to manage the mud in Moreton Bay is to aggressively enforce soil runoff on construction sites and encourage the growth of vegetation along the banks of local creeks and rivers. But the experts also agree these seemingly simple actions are not being undertaken, at least not with the speed or scale needed to save the bay.
It took us 30 or 40, 50 years to wreck it. This will take it that long at least to fix it up. But I haven't seen a real turnaround yet.